He joined Toastmasters and is working on his Competent Communicator Award. He hopes that Toastmasters can help him hone his communication skills and leadership abilities and help him excel in his career. Tonight, Vignesh is going to talk about an incident in his life that has made him the person he is today. He will introduce us to the different characters that have been pivotal in shaping his public persona. Also, he claims that he has known himself for the past 24 years and that he's the second best expert on this subject. The first is obviously Mom. Vignesh is currently a graduate student in the field of information systems at the University of Cincinnati. Please welcome Vignesh with his icebreaker speech, I, Me, Myself.
Hi, I'm Vignesh Padmanaban. I'm a graduate student at UC College of Business. I come with 2.75 years of international experience in handling the HR management systems at a major retail franchising firm in the Middle East region. I have worked closely with different business functions and have devised solutions that have saved around 11,000 man-hours per year, an equivalent of $200,000 in annual savings. I have a very good idea about how HR, payroll, and finance departments work in a retail industry, and I bring to the table a very special niche set of transferable skills that can be used effectively for your business. So this is my elevator pitch. So if I were to come to you during a career fair and give you this elevator pitch, would you give me an interview?
Yes.
Pretty much yes. Because people who I have practiced this with have literally given me this feedback that it projects myself as confident, hardworking, perseverant, and out-of-the-box thinker. But I'm going to spend the next 5 minutes talking about how this carefully selected, totally irrelevant bunch of words have nothing to do with my personal persona. Madam Toastmaster, my fellow guests and members, it's an honor to be here and a great pleasure to do this presentation in front of you. I was the only son, and I still am. And I am an introvert, and I was an introvert, and I ever will be an introvert. Maybe being the only son had something to do with that. Books were my only friends, and I can never walk into a room filled with strangers. I can never go to a person and do the small talk. By the way, you look dashing today. And I can never leave a very good first impression. That was me. That was me, literally, till my 8th grade. I was the nerd in the class who sits in the front row in every single class, raises his hand, and asks questions every once in 5 minutes. I know you want to kill me right now, but I have 5 minutes and you have to wait. So I was this guy till my English teacher came up to me and said, I have to give a presentation, a speech. Actually, she enrolled me into a speech contest without even consulting me. Obviously, she thought that my straight A's in English through all those grades truly reflected my ability to give a speech in front of people. Little did she know, I can actually wet my pants when I do that. So, but I'm the nerd, right? I have to say yes when a teacher asks me to do something. So I said, yes, I can do it. And then I went back to home and the reality struck me. I have to talk in front of people. Okay, what's the first step? I always follow a data-driven approach. I broke down my entire schedule for the next 2 weeks. The first part was research. I went and started researching about the topic. Okay, that was pretty easy. I was a nerd. I do this for a living. So I took out the speech title and then started collecting information regarding the title and then wrote my entire speech in like 4 or 5 sheets. And I memorized it so hard that if you wake me up in the middle of the night, I can tell you this entire speech in reverse. I was so good at it. And the next part was delivery. See, the most important part about any speech is delivery. You can take an excerpt from an extract from Shakespeare and still sound like an idiot. Or you can try to say the same thing George Bush said and still sound like an intelligent person. So it's all about the delivery. And yeah, I practice with my friends, my family, and then in front of the mirror a million times. And I was so confident. Actually, I started, my practice looking at the floor. And by the time I was done, I was literally looking at the sky because I was so confident that I could ace it. And then the judgment day came. I had to go on the dais, and I was confident even then. But yeah, some people get butterflies before speaking. I had anacondas hissing around. So that was totally different, but still I went on to the dais, took up the mic, and I said something really smart, and yeah, people liked it. Everything was smooth until somebody from the audience stood up and was trying to take a picture of me. And I was distracted for a second, and then the flash went off. That's it. That's it. A total moment of silence because I had a brain freeze. I couldn't, get the next line in my speech. I couldn't do that. I just froze. I just started looking at the person, and it was like everything froze, and I was, giving a pose for a picture that was already taken. So I stood there for 2 minutes, and then I said thank you and came down the stage. I was embarrassed. I was broken. I was the nerd who actually believed I could rock on a public speaking stage, and I couldn't do it. And I went back to my room, the safest place on earth, and I locked the door. I skipped my lunch. I skipped talking with my mom. I was just there staring at my computer, and my mind was all stuck in that time zone where I froze in front of 100 people. I was broken. I was an 8th grade student. I had nothing else in my life, and the only thing I believed that I could rock, it didn't work out. And then the clock struck 6 p.m. and my dad walked in. Now, this is the time I should give you an idea about my dad. He's actually a South Indian version of Chuck Norris plus Oprah Winfrey. He could actually convince Donald Trump that his ideas don't make sense. Forget Donald Trump. He can actually make my mother accept she's wrong. So he rocks at convincing people. And I was actually waiting for him to come and talk to me, make me feel better, and say something, really motivational. Son, you're the best. Something like that. But he walked in with 2 tickets in his hand and called me out for a movie. And I thought maybe he wants to do that, somewhere outside. So I walked along with him, went to the theater, 2 hours of just utter nonsense on the screen and no word from my father. And then we went for dinner. I still waited. No word from him yet. And then I went to bed. And then he came into my room, came beside my bed, and told me, son, I'm proud of you, no matter what happens. And then he looked me in the eye and said the most important 5 words of my life. Don't be a drama queen. He didn't want me to be a drama queen. And that was actually what I was doing. If you look at this incident from a third person's perspective, I was one among the 10 competitors who just messed it up in the last minute. That's what happened. But what made it look like a big issue was the fact that I was worried about the judgment of other people. That was the thing which made me feel that this whole issue was going to haunt me till I died. I realized it, and I started working hard. From the next day, I made it a point that I spent at least 30 minutes every day to not worry about others' judgments. Because that is the only important aspect which can make you soar to new heights. And as all fairy tales go, I did win a lot of speech contests after that. And here I am, standing in a lectern in US and talking to Americans in their own language. And still 3 or 4 people smiling at me. And one is taking a video of me speaking. And I'm posing it. That's me. I can now walk into a room and feel so confident. I can now walk up to people and do that small talk. I can actually ace a speech contest. And above all, I'm no longer a drama queen.